Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my latest 2021 NFL breakdown. Today, I'm going to break down the Houston Texans and how I think they're going to do for the 2021 NFL season. Now, before I get started, if this is your first time here, I just got a simple question to ask you. Do you like football? Because if so, you're in the right place. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, ring the bell. That way you can get notified every time I release a new video. Now, if you've been here before, you already know the drill. Go ahead, give me that thumbs up. Don't hesitate, do it now, and drop a comment below with any comments or even questions that you may have regarding the Houston Texans. Now, let's break down the Texans. Let's start off with what I like about the Houston Texans, and the first thing that I like is Deshaun Watson. Now, despite popular opinion, I actually think he's going to play this year. Now, how much or whether he plays week one is of course up to debate, but I think he's going to play this year, and you could argue behind Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, he was the third best quarterback in the National Football League last year. And here's the thing, no matter how you rank the quarterbacks, I think universally he's considered an elite level quarterback. I think you got to put him at the top 8 at least. He's one of the top quarter of quarterbacks in the NFL. And like I said, I think he's actually going to play this year. Normally when you have a team that's 4-12, that's got a new coach, has a new general manager, a new everything, you normally don't have an elite level quarterback. Unlike a lot of teams in this type of situation, you do have a superstar quarterback. The only question is if he plays. If he does, you already have the quarterback position locked up, and that's a good thing for the Houston Texans. Second thing about the Houston Texans I like is that there's absolutely no expectations. All right, even if Watson doesn't play, this team actually has talent. There's a lot of people that believe that this is a talentless team. That's not really the case. This team actually does have a lot of talent outside of Deshaun Watson. It's just been overlooked. But this is different than last year, because last year it really looked like they didn't really care. You know you're getting a new coaching staff. You knew you're getting a new general manager. Here you just have nothing to lose. And bottom line, look at week one. You're playing at home against Jacksonville. Jacksonville won one game last year, and you're the underdog at home to a team with one win. This gives you an opportunity to just play without care. Now last year they just didn't care. This year, there's no expectations. Let's see how the Houston Texans play without any pressure. There's a very good chance there could be some positive results to this team. Bottom line, you're expected to do nothing. Let's see what you do. And third, I absolutely love Lovie Smith. I'm floored that more people didn't talk about what a great acquisition it is to add Lovie Smith to the Houston Texans. I mean, this is a guy who's been an NFL head coach for two different franchises for 10 years. He's taken over this defense, and if nothing else, this defense, I think just with his presence alone, will definitely be better. Normally, when you switch schemes like this, the Romeo Crennel 3-4 scheme and the Tampa 2 defense are really different, but here's the thing, is that Lovie Smith so far has actually done a pretty good job with putting the pieces into play for his defense. There's a chance that this might actually be a pretty good defense despite some of the losses. But what I really like is that you got a first-time NFL head coach. A guy who's never been a head coach before. Put him with an assistant with a lot of experience like Lovie Smith. This gives you a sounding board, and let's say the worst does happen like everybody thinks it is. You got an experienced head coach in Lovie Smith that can come in, right the ship, and get you going at least until 2022. I absolutely love adding Lovie Smith to this defense, and I think that no matter what happens, let's say 2022 is a disaster, you could still keep Lovie Smith around for another year with his experience. And again, if things don't work out, here's a guy who's been an NFL head coach for over 10 years, so he's got plenty of NFL head coaching experience, so he can go ahead and right the ship. So bottom line, the three things I like about the Houston Texans going into the 2021 NFL season. Number one, you get Deshaun Watson. All right, you have a superstar quarterback. I think he's going to play this year. A lot of people don't, but I do. Number two, no expectations whatsoever. Currently, you're an underdog in every single game of the season, including week one against Jacksonville at home. So you can just play loose. You can play free, go out and make some plays without any pressure. It'll be very interesting to see how they do. And number 3, I absolutely love Lovie Smith as the new defensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. I thought this was a great hire. If things don't go wrong, he can come in, take over as head coach, and I think he's going to make a huge difference on the defensive side of the ball. Now, let's talk about what I don't like about the Houston Texans. First thing I don't like is pretty obvious. You have an all-time bad offseason. I mean, you have the greatest player in Houston Texans franchise just leave, and you don't even get anything in return for him. It's not like you traded him for a future number 1. You just cut and release the best player in history. You get nothing in return. Then your quarterback, your superstar quarterback, demands a trade. Then he's involved in a lawsuit. He might not even be able to play, period. Off seasons don't get a lot worse than this one. It's kind of like beating a dead horse at this point in time. But ultimately, I mean, there's not too many off seasons worse than what the Houston Texans had. Second thing is massive player turnover. There's multiple starters at almost every position group among this team. I mean, you could take a look at J.J. Watt and the issue with Deshaun Watson, but there's a lot of new starters all over this team. Now, both ESPN and Ourlads, I use Ourlads when looking at starters, they both have the Houston Texans still running a 3-4 defense. They're going to run a 4-3 under Lovie Smith, so having a bunch of new starters and some player rearrangement on the defensive side of the ball makes a lot of sense. But on offense, according to Ourlads, you have Marcus Cannon, Justin Britt, 2 starters on the offensive line, Mark Ingram, Andre Roberts, plus you got to replace Darren Fells at tight end. That's 5 new starters, and I'm not even counting Deshaun Watson. That's on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, to be perfectly honest, this team kind of reminds me of an expansion team in some ways. You got so many new people coming in, and a lot of these players specifically signed 1-year deals, which feels bad. And that's the third thing that I don't like about the Houston Texans is everything just feels bad. Normally it's a bad thing to say when I'm quoting a fact. I'd say everything feels bad, but universally, almost everybody has the Houston Texans as being the worst team in the National Football League. Universally, everybody has the Houston Texans with the first pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. I don't remember a time when a team that won 1 game the year before comes to your home stadium and is almost a 3-point favorite. That is just mind-boggling, and everything about the Houston Texans just seems bad. Board to board, just point to point. It's not really a scientific thing. It's not something I could just put my finger on. It's just everybody across the board just has a bad feeling about the Houston Texans. So the 3 things I don't like is the god-awful offseason, the massive player turnover, and everything just simply feels bad about the Houston Texans. Now, let's talk, this is the advanced part of the show. Let's talk about the Vegas over-under and if I'm putting action down on the Houston Texans. All right, so the Vegas over-under for the Houston Texans is 4, and it's a -110 for both the over and under. Basically, it's going to probably stay at 4. There's not a lot of action one way or another regarding the Houston Texans. Now, keep in mind, if Deshaun Watson does play, expect that number to jump high from 4. How high it jumps, I don't know. It could go to 5.5, maybe 6. But ultimately, due to the amount of uncertainty that's going on with the Houston Texans, I definitely am not putting action on them, and I don't recommend you do the same. However, if you say, Dan, I need to know, what would you do? I would actually take the over. 1, because I do think Watson will play, and 2, 4 is such a small number in a weak AFC South. I could easily see Houston winning 2 games even without Watson in the division. Then the remaining 11 games, 2-3 wins isn't really too much to ask. So, I would definitely take the over because 4 is just such a small number. Again, I strongly recommend against betting the Houston Texans at all. However, if you have to put action on the Texans, definitely put the over. And I would recommend doing it now because numbers seem to go with Deshaun Watson not playing. Even if he comes in at mid-season, they should definitely hit at least 4. At least that's my opinion. But again, I strongly recommend against taking the Houston Texans. So, look, go ahead. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. And drop a comment below. I'd love to know what you think about the Houston Texans or if you have any questions at all. Now, Wednesday, I'm going to break down the Atlanta Falcons. So, hey, I will see you Wednesday.